Hey guys, what's up? My 20 Wars Blast, and yeah, here we go. I am re-reviewing Velma. Why did I choose to re-review this? For one, I was not a fan of how my old video turned out. And two, I don't even know at this point. I'm either bold or I'm stupid. At this point, I believe I'm stupid. Oh, Velma, Velma, Velma. There's really not a lot I can say about this show that everyone else has already said about it. I mean, Velma is one of the most despicable characters I've ever seen. This is known as one of the lowest rating shows on IMDb, and Phantom Strider even put this at number 1 on his top 10 most hated modern cartoons list. And I definitely can see why. Velma is just... ugh. It's very hard for me to tell who this show is for one, because this show just insults everybody. I mean, they even had this one episode where Velma dressed up like a guy, and they said that guys are so lucky and they could get away with anything. I honestly don't believe Velma has any real gripe on what the world is like, but okay. I'm not gonna go attacking Mindy Kaling, or however you pronounce her last name. Yes, I definitely do agree that she's an awful person, but I don't want anyone to harass her, so I'm not gonna be mentioning anything about her, other than the fact this show seems to be based on her fan fiction. And even then, a fan fiction is better than this. Isn't that right, Scooby? Yeah, no kidding. Fuck Velma. Sorry, that's my best Scooby-Doo impression. As you can see, here is my little Scooby-Doo figure that I actually bought just to do this review. Or re-review, since I did technically talk about this earlier, like, this year. But once again, I didn't like how that turned out, so I thought, why not just do it? Let's talk about something I do kind of tolerate in Velma, and that is the animation. The animation for Velma's hallucinations are actually pretty nice looking and actually pretty well detailed. The animation itself is not the worst, especially considering this is an adult cartoon, and adult cartoons kind of have some very shitty animation. Even adult cartoons that I enjoy, like BoJack Horseman, for example, has pretty bad animation. Or even something like Bob's Burgers, which has some very weird animation. I mean, the animation's at least decent in this show. Now, to be honest, I'm not someone who's a big fan of adult cartoons. I can only name, like, very few I personally like. I did like Harley Quinn, but then after season 3 and 4, I felt like everything just got ruined. Not because I'm homophobic, just because the whole idea of Ivy and Harley just getting together just seemed like a very bad idea to me, especially since that's a show based on like how Harley is doing after the Joker and her kind of being her own person without the Joker. So introducing this idea of her being into Ivy just did not seem like a good idea to me. But I did like the first 2 seasons, so there's that. Bob's Burgers, because it's very different from other adult cartoons that I've ever seen, especially if we're talking like Fox shows. For one, the dad is not a dumbass, and two, the family actually seems to actually care and love for one another, and there's actually some very healthy relationships. And then I also really like Hazbin Hotel and Hello Boss, which I don't even think counts because they're web series. No offense to the creator. I know she works very hard on these episodes, and I will say I don't know if it counts per se, just because it's an online web series. But I still do really like Hello Boss and Hazbin Hotel. Sorry about that. And I also do like BoJack Horseman for a lot of its serious messages, and how the fact that it shows us the reality of how fame can really screw up somebody. And yeah, Velma is one of those shows that, honestly, I like the idea of a concept of a adult Scooby-Doo. I mean, to be fair, the live-action movie was actually supposed to be a PG-13 PG-13 Scooby-Doo movie. Like, apparently Velma and Daphne were gonna be in a relationship, and apparently Shaggy was gonna be a stoner. And Velma and Daphne do kind of have a relationship in this, but it never really gets a whole lot explored. They try to help with Daphne a little bit, like make her a bit more of a character, but they pretty much introduce a subplot where she's adopted, and she tries to find her birth parents, and that plot pretty much just does not go anywhere. They just show us 1 minute, and they're like, okay, we're not doing anything more with this. And in the last minute, they also decide to introduce hypnotizing. And it's kind of something that comes out of nowhere. And let me talk about the characters, actually. Fred is pretty much downgraded. Fred's pretty much the only, like, character who actually remained the same, except they make him more of a dumbass and a bit more of a stereotype than anything. Meanwhile, Daphne, who is also a stereotype, there's really nothing interesting I can say about Daphne, per se, other than she's just there. A lot of the character, whatever. I hate all these fucking characters. And Norsville, or Norman, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna call him Not Shaggy, just for the sake of this. Not Shaggy is pretty much just a boring character. Without Scooby, because this is the first show to have not Scooby-Doo in it, the first Scooby-Doo show to not have Scooby-Doo in it. I'm sorry, once again. Anyway, Norman, okay. Norman is the only character who I actually somewhat had a bit of I actually tolerate a little bit more as time progresses. Now, the first 2 episodes, I hated him. I guess his only main trait at that point was just being a simp for Velma. I mean, in the second episode, he tries to get money to, I guess, make Velma fall in love with him? I don't even know. And Velma, to think I've hated characters such as Maya from the Proud Family, or any of Penny's friends, really, from the Proud Family, except Zoe. I fucking hate Velma. She is, by definition, one of the worst characters I've ever seen. Not the worst character, but definitely up there. I wouldn't call her as bad as, say, Ren from Ren and Stimpy Adult Party cartoon, but I definitely say she's up there. She is by far one of the most insufferable main characters of all time. And I can give a lot of definitions. For one, there was a scene in the show where Velma thought that not Shaggy's dad, basically was the killer, because this kind of runs a bit of a killer plot where these killers try to take these girls' brains, and Velma thought the dad was the killer, and so she gets the police, they bombard his house, and she basically goes and blames the police for everything that's happened. And she does the same thing in another episode where she gets Velma, Shaggy, and Gigi, who ends up being Shaggy's girlfriend, and she gets them caught somewhere, and instead of basically saying, I'm sorry, this was all my fault, she goes and blames another character who I can't remember. And no, I didn't rewatch this show just so I can make this video. This show doesn't deserve that attention. Also, I hate being this kind of person, but prepare. This is gonna be a bit of another rant. In 3, 2, 1. Kissing someone during a panic attack is not how you handle a panic attack, you fucking idiots. Sorry. That's a scene that really infuriated me, because it just kind of goes to show how these people have no real understanding of how the real world works. They tried to include a panic attack scene and did awfully. Meanwhile, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, that came out a month before this, and it's a kid's cartoon, or a kid's movie, sorry, does a panic attack scene better than this. And they handle it very maturely and very, adult. I really do not like this show. This is not the worst cartoon I've ever come across. I might get to that eventually, but I can't make any promises. But if anyone asks if I'm ever going to be talking about Velma Season 2, because apparently there is going to be a Season 2 to this, I don't understand why. No, I will not be talking about Velma Season 2. Why? Because this show does not deserve that attention. I already regret doing this review. I already regret seeing all the episodes of this show because I gave it attention it didn't deserve. Alright. Thanks for joining me on this little rant here, and yeah. Anyway, that's all for today, and I'll see y'all later. Well, soon there's gonna be the Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey video, and these two videos were recorded on the same day. So yeah. Anyway, good night and bye.